Hello all, my name is Mukesh Sinha. I am a co-founder in Gravitas Ai UK. We have launched Thina, the world first AI powered multilingual, multi-channel 24 into 7 virtual healthcare assistant to address the most critical and the most sensitive issue of trust deficit between the service seekers and service provider. That means we are trying to address how to bridge the gap between doctors and patient through very seamless and transparent flow of information about the product and the services provided by the hospitals and clinic. So may I request you to join our live session on 30th of April from 8 p.m. onwards at IBM TV live session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to our session today on the role of virtual assistant in healthcare. My name is Sumit Kumar, and I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Gravitas AI. And I'll be the moderator for today's session. We'll be having a rich exchange of thoughts on our topic today from our esteemed panel of guests. In no particular order, we've got Dr. Jagadish Reddy from Pristine Eye Hospital, Hyderabad. We've also got Dr. Nitin Deshpande from Sri Ram Krishna Nethralaya, Mumbai. We're expecting Dr. Arul Mozi Varman, Medical Director, Uma Eye Clinic, Chennai. Then we've got R. Srivastava, a global AI strategist and industry advisor to MIT, the very popular university in southern part of India. And Mukesh Sinha, a healthcare expert and a chief commercial officer, Gravitas AI. So if we can just take a moment and we'll try to bring everyone together on the screen, and then we can kick off our session. Some of our panelists are running slightly late, but that shouldn't stop us from kicking off the session. And we'll have, as I said, a free-flowing Q&A kind of session today with ideas and experiences for our product, Tina, your tireless AI teammate for the healthcare sector. And it's also, as Mukesh said, is the world's first healthcare bot powered by AI, working in multiple areas. So if I may request IBM TV to bring forward Dr. Nitin Deshpande to our session, please. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Deshpande. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, likewise, sir, and we are very excited to have you here today. So would you mind sharing a little bit of your background, and then we get on to our product? It'll just help us, help our viewers sort of know about you as well.
Yeah, so I'm an ophthalmologist, glaucoma surgeon, and I'm director of Sri Ramakrishna Nethralaya. We have our centers in Thane, Mulund, and Navi Mumbai, and we have been adding centers recently. So since we wanted to integrate all of this together and hold these newer centers together, that is why the Gravitas comes into the picture, and that is when we thought of getting something like AI to help us in bringing together all the data and centers on one platform. So that is what it is.
Excellent, sir. Thank you very much. And we'd also love to hear from you about your experience with Tina so far.
Yeah, I think Mr. Mukesh Sinha and team has done a wonderful job, and Mr. Mukesh explained what is Gravitas briefly and very beautifully that what it stands for. So so when we talked about it, it was really exciting to have something like this, because I was seeing such similar products on bank pages and other places, and it was I thought it was a great tool for a patient interaction. The major highlights he emphasized were it's multilingual and it's 24/7. So you have already incorporated so many languages, which is a big plus, because if you see even Google Trends, a lot of people are now tend to browse with their mother tongues like Marathi or Gujarati or whichever tongue they are comfortable with. So that is one transition that even Google is seeing. So the same way, I'm thankful that you also thought of integrating Tina with multi languages. And second great advantage is it's 24/7. So my staff might fall short, as they might not be able to communicate beyond working hours, but then that gap is filled by something like a Tina AI, which is again a second major advantage. Uh, so I'm sure we went for this because we wanted to bridge the gap in service provision, because we want to be available to the patients all the time, round the clock, and we want to automate few things to make patient more comfortable, like giving them some information or whatever makes them comfortable round the clock. That makes a big difference, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, thank you very much for your wonderful insights, and you've shared some great points. We'll come back to you. We'll bring all the panelists together. We'll just go through the next panelists and get their views as well. Then we come back together as a team. So, if I may request IBM TV to bring forward Dr. Jagadish, please. Okay. So I think there's been some challenges with regards to the technology today. Dr. Jagadish might have logged out. So yeah, I understand. I understand Nguyen has been messaging me. So um, what we will do is just based on your experience that you've shared, Dr. Deshpande, um, I think we briefly touched upon automation. Now, with regards to automation, one of the good things that we're doing with regards to Tina is that it's cognitive automation, which means as an end user and the patient, it's all about giving or talking to Tina, speaking to Tina, or chatting to Tina to get things done. And a lot of activities which were not transparent in the past, for example, looking through information from your system, which is relevant to the patient. Like, it's not everything is available to them, but whatever is relevant, it's bringing in more transparency and so on. So again, it would be great if you could reflect on your automation kind of requirements and opportunities even. So maybe
Uh,
you can paint your ideal picture, like, this is my ideal picture with regards to Tina.
uh, so that starts in every section, either it's OPD or IPD. So first of all, starting from my web experience, so even patient comes to my web page, say he goes to browse about LASIK, then he should, once he's on the page, AI should be able to recognize his interest and shoot a brochure to him, giving more information about the AI and why he should get that surgery done in Sri Ramakrishna Netralaya. So
Yeah.
or say he's browsing on our Facebook page, and if he wants to know something more about any particular thing, or seeing his preference is looking more at cataract surgery, or he's browsing more information on cataract surgery, Tina should be able to recognize that and go and giving more information about the cataract surgery. So basically, a person engagement when he wants to, when he's on our web page or on our social media, was first thing that was in my mind. Secondly, say for example, we do a lot of investigations in ophthalmology. We'll say something like fundus angiography, for example. Now, if somebody is posted for a fundus angiography tomorrow, he's obviously going to be very anxious, that what are they going to do to me, how long it's going to take, so what is this procedure about, and how long is it going to take, or what will be the after effects of this procedure. So I want Tina to pick up such patients from my software who are posted for angiography, send them information about angiography, that what is the procedure, what to expect, how long it's going to take, how safe it is, and why are we doing this at all, so, and some simple things like he's going to have a yellowish urine for next 2 days after procedure because the dye goes out through urine. So all these things will really make patient very comfortable and less anxious, because maybe my staff would explain it, but if she misses something, then what? So if AI also is able to convey that, patient is very comfortable. Same for any surgical procedure like cataract surgery. So if we can tell them that this is what we are going to do tomorrow to you, this is how long you are going to take. Um, these are our patient reviews. So see, they have done so well. So you need not get really anxious. You are going to do really great. And what are the medications that you are going to use after surgery? So these are the ones. This is the care you need to take. And after cataract surgery, also the AI should be engaging with the patient, asking him, "Are you doing fine? If you're not, please contact my counselor, or do you want us to talk to you?" So that gives a very holistic experience to the patient, right from coming into my OPD till surgery and post surgery. So if that can be done seamlessly with the help of AI, I think that is going to really create a very positive impact on my practice and improve the footfall. So that was my main aim of getting into this.
Absolutely. And we are very focused from an experience perspective to keep things patient centric, but equally on the positive outcomes for the hospitals. So it becomes a win win situation for all the parties involved. Once again, grateful for your thoughts, Dr. Deshpande. I think we've got um, Dr. Jagadish back, and we would like to welcome him to the discussion panel. So, Dr. Jagadish,
Hey, hi, Sumit.
hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And you know, um, great to have you here in our discussion panel. Um, we have recently onboarded Tina in your organization. Like it's really fresh as it can get. Um, so would love to sort of hear from you about your initial reactions, initial sort of feelings in terms of how Tina is going to be useful for you and your patients. So yeah,
Yeah. Thanks, Sumit. Thanks for the question. As you said, like I'm very new to this, and then just yet to dwell deep into how Tina would help me build my practice and how it could connect me well to my patients. But I think it's important. Coming from I've come from an organization where the volumes of patients seen or surgeries performed is pretty high. So when you look at the connectivity between the patient and the healthcare providers, I think there was something lacking behind, and then I think this could bridge a gap. But I just went through list of things that it can do from Mukesh, and then I found it very interesting because there's a lot of what Dr. Nitin did mention right now, that if you have a surgery tomorrow, and then the patient is very apprehensive, and not only being apprehensive, but not knowing, not having a lot of information with them is a big concern that patients would have. I think Tina definitely helps, and it is very good point is like it is more customizable for your clinic, and it's not a generalized platform. I think that would facilitate uh, every patient to know what they should expect in a particular clinic or with a particular surgery. I think that's a big point that I can see that would connect a particular healthcare provider with any patient who would be visiting them.
excellent. Thank you, Dr. Reddy, for very valuable inputs. And I'm sure we'll be working together. It's a collaborative journey. So over a period of time, we'll be adding more features for you as required for your organization. And in that journey, we'll be sort of working towards the benefit of your organization as well as the patients. Um, with that, if I may request uh, Arsh, who's a global AI strategist, to sort of share his thoughts in terms of how AI and modern technologies are changing healthcare as a domain, as a field which was not exploring technology and AI per se to a large extent until, let's say, COVID kicked in. So, Arsh, we welcome your thoughts.
Thank you so much, and nice to see you, Dr. Nitin, again, and welcome, Dr. Jagdish. So, yeah, very relevant question, and it's very like relevant to the current scenario of India as well, and with respect to the scenario which has happened after COVID. So, the world has moved towards digitization more, and augmentation experience of technology is something which is very key to give seamless patient experience through healthcare, and that is where artificial intelligence kicks in, and there's a lot which can be done in terms of managing the patient experience and also on the clinical side with artificial intelligence using different sort of technologies. For example, conversational AI is one bit which is being used highly to engage patients in different ways and formats, providing the right kind of information, seamless, accurate, 24/7, consistent, and at any point of time. So that is something which is very great. Also, the kind of technology which we are trying to develop, and the way it's going forward, speech in coming times will be very useful in terms of like further augmenting the experience, while the multilingual aspect of artificial intelligence, like the speech and text, the multilingual aspect coupled with artificial intelligence for conversations is really proving very it's really proving a very great experience for patients, wherein people can interact in their local languages. We are trying to bridge the gap between the communication and the conversations, so that there's a seamless interaction and engagement, and also subconscious brand recall value through artificial intelligence, which is happening in the back end. Also, there's much more to be achieved on the clinical side, and a lot of work and a lot of research is being done in different areas, not only optical but dental and cancer. There are multiple fields. Healthcare is a very big domain, and there's a lot of work which is being done in terms of understanding symptoms, doing diagnosis. So basically, trying to support the doctors to take some load out of their like busy schedule, because doctors are very busy, and there's a lot of like, and the patient load has increased multiple times. So the research which is going in that direction is definitely very helpful. Plus, we are told like with the help of technology and machine learning algorithms, with understanding the structured data, the unstructured data, which is immense in healthcare and has not been analyzed so much until now. So, in that regard, the research which is happening, that will be really, uh, uh, it will be really phenomenal when it happens. And in different areas, with definitely a lot of research has already taken place. People have reached to a place where they started using different technologies like optical character recognition or sentiment analysis or image recognition, etc., to understand the data, the underlying value of the data, which is there in like the big silos of data, which is sitting out there. So also on that, on those terms, there's a lot of progress which is being made, and there's a lot to achieve in that direction. Plus, while we are doing conversational AI, there's a lot of data which is being captured through patients. So not in 3 months time or 6 months time or probably in 12 months time, but once a particular system captures data for about 12 to 24 months of time, then there can be different predictions made through regression algorithms, wherein we can understand the seasonality and when people are asking about a particular disease, what type of geography has got a majority of a particular type of disease, etc. So there can be various predictions which can be made out of that, and that's why the data is very important. So the data is the oil for artificial intelligence, whether it is conversational AI, augmentation, or whether it is about predictions.
Very good points there, Ash, and thank you very much for your contribution. I think one of the key points that you mentioned is around data and the availability of data in healthcare. It is just so rich, and the volumes are just mind-boggling. They're going to keep on increasing. And within Gravitas as well, one of our key focus areas is to utilize that data to enhance the product experience that we deliver to our highly valued customers and ultimately the patients. So I think let me just bring in, hopefully Dr. Varman is here, and let's try to bring him into the conversation. And then we'll go through some of the interesting questions, maybe some points that where all of us would like to contribute. So if I may request to bring Dr. Arulmozi Varman into the frame, please.
Can you see me? Can you
Yes,
see
we
me,
can.
hear me?
Yes, we can, Dr.
Fine. So we've been using this for the last few months now. Actually, my son is the one who started it, and unfortunately, he's away
There
on.
could be a network issue. I'm not sure if everyone can hear me.
Can you hear me?
I
can
think
hear
we
you.
are able to hear everyone, Sumit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. So the
Yeah.
basic issue now that
Okay,
the patients,
so Dr.
all
Varman
the
is here as well.
patients have become quite net savvy. It's not the question of just looking at Googling the doctor or Googling the hospital and looking for reviews. They also would like questions to be answered. Well, in the good old days, we'll have to hire out a team of, you know, tele consultants or people who will be on 24 hours to receive calls and try to give you a feedback. This is what we were doing earlier. That's kind of difficult to execute, particularly during the COVID period, and quite expensive. So this kind of an artificial intelligence is there 24 hours. Anybody logs in from any place into your website and they have a question to ask. And the most interesting part is in any language that they choose to, these questions are answered in a way that it has been made personalized for that particular eye care service. And further personalization can be done as has been observed by artificial intelligence. We know what track most of the questions are going through, and we can kind of put in more answers or more interesting answers in that track. And we can also track and see what are the services that we are offering which are not being asked or not being picked up. And those can also be triggered in the long run. So there's a lot of advantage in this. We've been noticing that there is a fair amount of traffic, and the statistics of the number of patients coming in as well as patients that are interacting and patients going in for appointment on this software is going up. The graph just goes up. Do you want to see our input graph? Can I share that? Slides. Okay. Somehow I
I've
don't
got
know how
that.
to.
Let me try. Yeah.
I'm not very conversant with this. I have this thing opened up, but I'm not able to show that. I guess you people have those slides. You can show it
Yeah,
later.
Let me share the slides, sir. So if you give me a
I'm
second,
not able
I'll
to.
be able to open it.
I have the slides up. I'm more used to Zoom. I try sharing. It's asking questions. That is
Yeah,
something.
Sumit will be able to share that. I think. Yeah.
So that has been useful. So what we were surprised is the number of when we took up this project, the product. I wasn't really very sure that there are a number of people who are going to use it. But surprising part is that that is pretty much significant. And as we try to tailor make it to give more appropriate inputs, and we can track and find out where we are strong and look for places where we are weak, where the patients, we have services that patients are not aware, or probably they're not tracking it, and maybe we have not made an impact on the platform, either with our patients or on the internet, on the net platform. So we know how to we'll find ways to boost it. So I look forward to, as you observed, artificial intelligence serving us better in the future. I'm pretty excited about this. I was somebody who wasn't very keen on this product. It was completely taken up by my son and almost nothing to do with it, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, Dr. Arul,
Okay.
rightly said. It's a technology which is being which is still nascent, but is being used a lot. We have seen those implementations in different areas, and the number of people have joined and used this technology has been really great. And also, at Gravitas Ai, what we're trying to do is we're not only trying to do it on one channel, but slowly augmenting the whole experience by connecting across the ecosystem. So as there are multiple digital touch points in a user journey, wherein there's a website, there's a WhatsApp, there's Facebook Messenger, there are other digital touch points. So we're trying to seamlessly connect. The whole roadmap is much bigger than this, wherein we're trying to connect all the digital touch points, plus also trying to implement the social listening part, which will be very crucial in terms of like understanding what people are talking about, what they want to hear about from the clinic, and what are their expectations, etc.
No, I have a question.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
please.
I have a question. Now, actually, if you look at my statistics, most of my patients are okay. They're coming through this my website, and maybe your product is also helping me. But a large percentage is coming up from YouTube.
Mhm.
Any way of connecting this touch point, the YouTube, there are patients who put up their own YouTube references about our hospital, which even I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
Whether
So very
these things
rightly
have to be connected up.
Yeah, very rightly said, and that is what I was talking about. So the social listening aspect, which you're researching on and trying to connect, that's a POC which is being done, and we're hoping to roll it out soon. So that will start connecting to the social media platforms, wherein we'll be able to connect to Facebook, YouTube, the comments, etc., and try to understand like what people are talking about, which part of that particular content is very important for us, which like we'll be able to segment the interest basis that. So that is something which is going on, and we are extensively doing research on that, and hope to roll it out in probably 4 to 6 months time. Yeah.
Thank you, Arsh, and thank you, Dr. Verman.
Yeah.
Great insights once again. And going back to your original point with regards to how we can further support patients in getting the right information in a focused manner so that they can get connected to the right healthcare service provider, the doctor, the person who's going to support them. It's actually quite relevant, and you're pointing towards the data. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share the screen, but let me just
Okay,
read out
I'll
some
give you the
numbers.
data. As I see, I have been average of around almost 60 patients per day. I've been coming into this and been interacting. And if you look at the graph from the every month, the graph is going up, not down. The number of users is increasing on a daily basis. So I can't share this because I don't know how to do that, but I have the product here. So that's quite interesting. The underlying thing that we all need to understand is that the present generation is completely net savvy, and they are not very comfortable making phone calls or asking questions even when they come to the hospital. They would rather know everything before they come in. So they make their decisions at a different point, and their thought process of the younger crowd, particularly the ones that are going for refractive surgery, is more towards complete net-based, not personalized contact until the last point. So earlier it was the patient who would have to come, get comfortable with the doctor, ask questions, and then get comfortable, then do this. This is all being done as a word I use, offsite, off from the hospital. So the patient is predetermined before he walks into the center now. So that actually saves us a lot of chair time and counseling the patient. This is not
That's
occurring as much in cataract yet, but again, though the cataract age group is older, often the people who are paying for it are the next generation, the children, and they are pretty much net savvy. So I think this is going to reflect a lot on the cataract and glaucoma and other services too. For now, I personally see it in the refractive surgery platform.
Indeed,
Yeah, that's
indeed, Dr.
that's very
Verma.
true actually. Yeah. And so that is something which is happening across the board, and Google has changed the way people look at it. Everywhere people are looking at Google ratings, people are looking at reviews, etc. A lot of information is always there, also there on like Google platforms, and that is where AI also becomes very important, because what we're trying to provide is the consistent, the accurate information through the chatbot system, which has been trained through medically validated data. So that is very important, because these days, usually, as rightly pointed out by Dr. Arul, people go on Google, try to search for information, and there's a lot of information. This can be misleading as well. People come with a predetermined notion to the clinic and thinking about maybe they've got something else or something like that. So definitely, this sort of experience wherein the information is coming from the doctor itself or from a medically verified body, and is being provided through the right channel from the clinics people want to visit for getting the right sort of patient experience. So that becomes very important, definitely.
Indeed. And one of the key things is that Dr. Verman rightly pointed out is the uptake of digital technologies and the propensity to utilize messaging as opposed to the voice services um, in the younger generation. So a lot of people in sort of even up till 40, 45, nowadays they kind of prefer to go to chat or send messages as opposed to calling up people, speaking to people.
Yep.
So that's in line with the global trends that we have. I think Mukesh, if you want to share your views as well in terms of how healthcare sector, from a sectoral perspective, how is that changing for you, or in your views?
Yeah, thank you, Sumit. Uh, we have seen, like in healthcare, a lot of things are changing, particularly in terms of equipment side, medicine side, and recently, of late, particularly in last 2 years, about the vaccination side, right? Everywhere, some amount of AI is being used. Even like in ophthalmology, we have seen this, whether it is a femto cataract machine or LASIK machine, it is AI-enabled equipments are coming. Only so far, being in a healthcare, this healthcare is basically based on the three pillars. You have hospitals or service provided like doctors, then you have equipment and machine providers like the company, and the third, the most important, is about a patient, right? So a lot of technology is being used in the company side, equipment side, and about the in terms of drug delivery. But unfortunately, nothing too much focus on the healthcare side as much as technology is concerned. So with such kind of conversational AI, we can see that patient has now the choice. He can interact with the TINA at their respective languages, try to understand the information related to, like Dr. Arul rightly mentioned, patient go for the treatment, either OPD and surgery. They wanted to know everything. So this is a multilingual 24/7. It's definitely going to change a lot. And the most important, particularly uh, right now, because it is just conversational side, but the moment you put AI in terms of practice development, like prediction, the how the things data is moving, and based on the data, if you can have like early stage of glaucoma or early stage of something retina things, that is really going to be change a lot. I know it is happening in isolation, but particularly like Gravitas AI, where they have conversations, so if they can connect the conversation with the data prediction, that is going to change. It's going to the entire things is going to be a next level.
Okay. Definitely, Mr.
Agree.
Mukesh. Augmentation is one thing which is very important and will kick in at the right time. I was with Dr. Nitin, I think, a couple of weeks ago in Mumbai, and we did discuss like about how to augment the experience further in terms of like the current experience which has been provided as SRN through the bot. So there were a lot of points which came in from Dr. Nitin in terms of like how we can add to it. Plus, the IT team also contributed a lot. So there's definitely a requirement of customization a lot. So we are trying to provide solution which is based on the SME expertise. Because apart from that, we are also clubbing it with the right kind of experience which the particular hospital or the clinic wants to provide, and that becomes very important because the word which we are using is artificial intelligence and it's augmentation of human intelligence. So it's a growth maturity. There's a maturity curve for this, and we are trying to take baby steps and milestone based steps towards it, wherein we started with the conversational front first, and thereafter trying to automate, introduce the process automation, which is the next step, which is happening at the moment at different stages, adding new technologies, new channels, etc., to the fore, and thereafter taking it forward. And as we go further, then there will be a lot of data, as I talked about previously, which can be definitely used for getting a lot of like insights. They can be KPIs which we can which we can understand from the doctor itself or the clinic itself, which can be processed, and that those can be generated to understand more about like future predictions for the business, future predictions for the clinic, etc. So definitely working through, at Gravitas we are trying to practice working through and working with the hospitals, not exactly just providing the technology solutions, because technology is always an enabler if it is able to solve a problem which is existing. So that is where it becomes useful, and that is the whole crux of the solutioning which we are trying to provide.
Yeah,
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Arch and Mukesh.
yeah,
Mukesh, I think you're trying to add something.
yeah. Being a practitioner, Dr. Nitin or Dr. Can mention about how the things are changing in their practices and what kind of things they would love to be like. Dr. Arul is mentioned, Dr. Nitin is mentioned. Uh, Patient uh, wanted to have a not only good engagement, they wanted to have overall good experiences from the hospital. So even the post after the post services, it is engagement with the patient is the most important. So that is what one of the things conversational AI is doing it here. But I would like to hear from Dr. Nitin or about any particular incident or overall your experiences so far, sir.
So we have it for last few months, and I'm very thankful to your team that you have been very enthusiastic in listening to us and making changes. I think it takes a little while for the Tina to pick up things, because I think ophthalmology is something probably new to Tina, and we have been working to make it work much more seamlessly. And I'm sure it will do its job very seamlessly in next few days to come. We have just like Dr. Arul said, we have had a very good traffic on our Tina chatbot, and we are seeing a steady growth in that. And I'm sure more and more people would really like to interact with us through Tina in future. Another thing, while Arsh was talking about, one thing just came to my mind was if we could just do a face recognition for the patient who walks in and his data gets auto populated, that would be wonderful, because that saves a lot of my time in taking patient name and searching in database, and all these small things, although look, um, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a reality in not very long in future. So I'm sure the speed with which you guys are going, mm, I think I hope you'll need us.
Definitely, Dr. Nitin, and that was
Absolutely.
a very important point. So the wisdom management solution which we are working on, that is something which or which we have just touched upon. So basically, there will be a facial recognition system through which we can recognize the repeat patients. So people are visiting the clinic again, they will not be required to put in the data to the system, but with their facial recognition or any other recognition system, we'll be able to realize who they are, what they're doing, and what sort of data we have already. So basis that we can do some identification and verifications, and that can be processed. The data can be processed. It will be very easy and seamless. We're working on it. We have already done a good part of it, and yeah, that can be definitely a good solution to add to the current set.
Thank you, Arsh. And to add to what Arsh has just mentioned, it is also a very sensitive topic if you think about the whole recognition thing across the globe. So we are cognizant of that, and we are adopting technologies that will ensure that we are compliant with all the data regulations across the globe, and that will also give comfort to your patients that their data is in a fully secure kind of system. So it will be a very important sort of milestone, and we're not very far away from getting it deployed. Um, so yeah, we'll be working very closely with yourself and your teams. Thank you, Dr. Deshpande. And Dr. Reddy, we've mentioned this before as well. It's very early days for you, but given your, the patient base that you have, and the sort of, the footfalls that you have currently in your organization, What are your thoughts over and above what you've seen potentially today? And where would you see the focus kind of shifting, whether from a product side or from a patient perspective? Where do you think they would start getting more and more interested as we move forward?
Sir, you are on mute, Dr. Jagdish.
I think Dr. Reddy is on mute. So
Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks, Sumit, for the
no
question.
worries.
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand that in a healthcare service, like it's the experience that people look at. And with the advances, as Mukesh did mention, that there's a lot of advances in technology and surgical skills, but I would say like outcomes are pretty comparable with many practices. And it's the experience that people have been looking at in the recent past, how they're being treated in the journey when they enter a facility and then when the entire process is completed. So if all these is done in a seamless manner, they know what they're going to expect when they are going to a clinic, and they have an information of what they should look at. And when they are in the clinic, if it is going to be seamless, where most of the information that patient requires is provided to them well in advance. And then aftercare is one of the things, like you get hunting number of calls. You do a surgery and you go home, and if patient has your number, you see your inbox, like you get a lot of SMSs and a lot of WhatsApp messages, and then a few of them do call because they're concerned, because they have a very smallest of, it may be a very small thing for you because you see many patients and do many surgeries, but medically you know that it's a trivial thing, but for the patient that's a big thing. So they would want information. I think providing that sort of a continuity of the care even after surgery, I think that would make a huge difference for the patients, and this would definitely, I think, it would be a game changer as we move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Great points there. I think somebody was trying to speak up. I'm not sure if I'm speaking over somebody. No? Okay. Thank you. So, Nguyen, if I may request you to present the slide that we had for Dr. Verman, we'll just reflect on that for a couple of minutes. So, Dr. Verman, I think this is the slide that we had for Umai Clinic, your organization.
Yes, that's the one. I couldn't press give it.
Yeah. So, in summary, if I may just say, it looks like, given the design of the software and also the journeys that we've sort of deployed on TINA, it looks like a positive outcome for both for the patients as well as for Umai Clinic. We've got similar data for Dr. Deshpande, and we'll be sharing similar sort of data points with yourself, Dr. Reddy, as we move forward. So with that, I think if we can just come back as a group, and hopefully we can discuss your expectations in future. I think you've already touched upon that, but things around what you may want to sort of see in near future. So I think there are things such as multi-channel, more languages, more features for patients. In, and in terms of what we're going to do in all the organizations and all the customers, we'll keep on deploying new things in consultation with yourselves. So if I can come back to Mukesh. Mukesh, do you want to share your views specifically on TINA? I think we've talked about the broader points about the product itself.
Mukesh, should unmute yourself. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So, as per the latest report from the Gartner about the healthcare services, this is after the surgeon skill and the treatment, the most important thing about the communication, and that too like transparent communication. Many times we know surgeons are doing their good job, paramedical staff are doing their best effort, but still a lot of questions patient wanted to ask. But because the flow of the patient, probably we are not able to provide the information at the right manner or the right time. So multilingual and particularly audio visual, like when you talk about something video messaging, that is also going to change a lot as per the patient experiences is concerned. Second, of course, apart from web page, the most important these days about the WhatsApp. So if you can going to integrate on the WhatsApp, that is already happening many places. In fact, we have also started. But apart from WhatsApp, like multi-channels about Instagram, Instagram is another very popular channels, Facebook. So when we do touching the all these digital touch point, so it will not just about the information provision. In fact, it is going to help a lot of lead generation. And we have some live example, particularly when we talk about in our ophthalmology, like refractive surgeries. Refractive surgery are being influenced by seeing the patient testimonial, by seeing the patient feedback on the social medias, and of course, YouTube and other videos are there. So it is important that when we talk about conversational AI, it has to be omni-channel experiences, and of course, multilingual is the icing on the cake. Second thing, this is the only about doctors and the patient, but a lot of things are being done on the background. So particularly about the data because data is not about the regular business. Even in medical things, the data is going to help a lot. And all of us, we know that Google and other big brothers, they are doing a lot of data research on the healthcare, and at least on ophthalmology, we know because India is also one of the research center by one of the big companies. So particularly lifestyle disease, glaucoma, retina, and even to large extent cataract, we can able to have some access to how the progression are happening. So at right time, right intervention of either surgical and medication, that is going to change a lot about the healthcare segment there. So that is my thought about anyone else can put their point.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mukesh, Dr. Arul, Dr. Nitin, Dr. Jagdish. If you'd like to spare some thoughts about how you see the future and how important artificial intelligence do you think is for in terms of uses and improving the patient experience, that will be really great.
I think, can I speak? I think Arul sir is speaking.
Okay, Dr. Arul, you're on mute. Yeah.
So you're muted.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. There would be a stream in which my reach through the your software is strong. There could be a couple of other streams where the reach through this software is weak, meaning patients don't know that we are offering those services, or they are not aware these services are needed by them. I give an example. Let's say we are strong in cataract and refractive, and we are adding cornea in a more advanced way. Whether we can now include that in a way where it will prompt the patient, do you want to know more about cornea services available here? I can't say how you should go about it. So you not only strengthen what we are strong at, we check out something that where we are weak at, where we will have to strengthen that stream. How artificial intelligence can help us to do that. That will be probably the way to go, at least in the near future. Of course, linking up to all the touch points, as you mentioned, will be of immeasurable value. That I guess is going to be rather easy to you, but this pathway will be interesting. So,
That's
Nitin,
really true,
sorry,
Dr.
intervene. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Now, I would like artificial intelligence to create a virtual clinic for me, where in areas where we are not present physically as clinics, we should be able to access patients, and patients should be able to access us. Like you can auto-diagnose diseases, we can integrate pharmacy, we can integrate optical shops, and our consultants can diagnose remotely. Um and with definitely with the help of fundus cameras, which are already becoming smarter to pick up early diseases, I'm sure it should become a artificial clinic for me in areas where I'm not present. So you can't physically start clinic in every place, but at least it will definitely help us increase our reach to more places, and people will be able to take our services from little remote areas also.
Dr. Jagdish, if you like to please.
Yeah, hi Ash. So I think it's important to keep their interest alive. I think to have, if you have customized something and kept it, like I think having it changed at a regular intervals based on their interests, and then making things more crisper with more valued numbers that they would be interested in, and also projecting the outcomes of your surgeries in a real sense. I think these are the things that patients are really interested in nowadays. So whenever you advise a surgery and refractive surgery, one question most of them ask, like, how sure you are you would give this result. So I think having such sort of information based on your particular experience, or whatever is the global standards that are followed, I think these are the things that patients are looking forward. So having such sort of information coming in and to display, showing patients, I think that is very important, where they would get more interested in looking at more detail at your service and the other services that you're providing.
So I'll just add on one more point. Recently, in fact, I have attended one of the conference organized by Vietnam government. Sorry, not, it's a Taiwan government. And surprised to know that they have almost 90% their population digitally connected. And you have, Dr. Nitin, you have mentioned about virtual hospital. So in fact, they have demonstrated how this virtual hospital, it's working in the Taiwan. So it's already possible. Only thing, how much it is role about, because a combination of technology, AI is just one thing. Then we have IoT, we have natural language, NLP, all these things there. But in reality, it is already happening, sir. And some of the part you have asked about like integration with the pharmacy and other things. So we have already doing with few of the center. I think the next integration in your center would be if you have more than, so all this pharmacy, and along with that your uh, supply chain management can be integrated through this. And us being a global thing, you can add on something how we can further improve on that.
Definitely, very nice reflections towards the end of the session, wherein we got to hear from Dr. Arul about like engagement and awareness, creating more awareness about the solution, because that is very important need for right now, as we are moving on with a new technology, getting into a new space, trying to like help people with this technology, and rightly said by Dr. Arul that we need to make people aware about it. So things like promoting it through social media, trying to promote through some in clinic, etc., and also like creating some awareness, general awareness, like sessions like these, which can be shared with a lot of people. So this will start like more engagement. So the engagement and the awareness, these two kind of things come in parallel to each other. The next thing I think also Dr. Jagdish touched upon the support aspect of it, how to better support further on it, when we can add more things to it, and take the automation to the next level, and do all the things which are required for the clinics. And Dr. Nitin, definitely that is the next level which you really touched upon. That's something which is in our mind. We want to go there where we can create clinics which are like augmented experience, virtual reality, coupled with conversational AI. The whole roadmap for us, I think it's very nicely summarized between all three of you, wherein we started with the engagement part, doing the awareness, trying to create conversations, then getting into automation side, trying to engage different silos, different touch points, different technology silos of the organization, and trying to connect everything together to bring the experience at one place, wherein those things can be like leveraged. The total connected experience can be leveraged together to gain insights at a later stage, probably 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, and thereafter these things can be further augmented to, because we'll get more insights about things, how we can like leverage these things better, and what sort of things people need. So the things which are, because the thing which is very important in this whole thing is that this is the live user research which is happening basically, because it's very difficult to connect and collect the live patient data. People talk on telephones, people talk on emails, that all data gets lost. So basis these, definitely these things can be like touched upon. After automation we can move into like further augmentation, and we also like have a vision towards the augmented reality and VR stuff being integrated to this in the future. So I think it was a very nice summary coming together from all the three doctors, and the right kind of things which are needed for the optometry industry and for healthcare to support patients in the best way, so that they can have a seamless connected journey and a very right kind of experience with the healthcare system. So, Mr. Mukesh, will you like to add anything further, or Dr. Arul, Dr. Jagdish, and Dr. Nitin, if you'd like to add some closing comments for the session, that will be really helpful.
Nothing. I don't have anything more.
All right, sir.
So maybe
Dr.
we
Nitin?
take few question if somebody is there, any question, and then we can have the last comment and closing. Any question from anyone? It look like no any question.
Yeah, I think it's the like it's the time of the night where people will not be interested in asking many questions.
Yeah,
I
actually
think-
it was up to 9 o'clock. It might be participant might have been
Oh,
disconnected.
we have a question. We have a question. So Ankit Khandelwal is asking, how is technology rediscovering healthcare, especially since COVID? And the questions is for doctors. So definitely out of our SME expertise, we can't answer that. The question is, how is technology rediscovering healthcare, especially since COVID? So any one of you, if you like to answer, please.
A very difficult question to answer, but again, is this question pertaining to ophthalmology? Is the person asking the question an ophthalmologist?
The question was a bit generic towards healthcare, but I think perspective
Okay, I
towards
can only answer on the ophthalmology. On my personal experience, I don't know if that's going to be valid across the country, but what we see post-COVID, when the numbers came back, they did come back to normalcy and above normal, because the backlog was there, backlog of almost 1.5, 2 years. But we had two opening sessions. Whenever the lockdown was shut down or opened up, we got a bounce back, and the numbers then went down again when the lockdown came again it came back. But each time, to our surprise, the higher end procedures have gone up numerically or statistically over the baseline procedures. If I was doing 30% of my turnover was baseline, and another 40 or 50% was the midline, and the top end was hardly about 10, 20%, it's kind of gone topsy-turvy. The baseline has become less than 30%, the midline is about 40%, and from 10% top line, it's gone to 30%. The top line is completely gone up. And my personal explanation for this is that people are not going out, they're not spending on clothes, they're not spending on food, they're not taking holidays, and they are looking to use whatever the surplus that they have in better medical care and timely medical care. Again, the psychology may be that we missed out for 2 years, let's get the best out of it. So I guess this is the engine we need to drive to keep the top end going higher and not take a dip after this so-called backlog peters out.
Yep.
Nitin or Dr. Jagdish, what would you say?
Arul sir, one interesting fact is that if you read the news, I think Lamborghini sales were the highest this year, and
Exactly.
if you see luxury property sales are highest again. So I think it is just changing the expenditure behavior of the customer. I think people are spending on themselves more, I suppose. So all the luxury markets have done extremely well post-COVID. So I'm sure the same trend is in healthcare.
I'll give you an example. Post-COVID, I traveled twice. I was in Dubai for a meeting, and then I just came back 2 days back from ASCRS. Rolex watches are completely sold out in every showroom. I'm not joking. There was not a single Rolex watch in Dubai showrooms. All the high-end watches are sold out. In Frankfurt airport, he had about 4 or 6 watches displayed with a clear label saying only for display, not for sale. They don't have anything for sale.
Yeah, that's really like a very useful insight, and I think that's being reflected everywhere. Like the kind of like pushback which was there due to COVID has actually pushed people to think about themselves. I think people have become more conscious about their health, their expenditure, how they want to spend on things, and how they want to make their lives better. Because I think this COVID thing has definitely gave us all some time to think about it and think about ourselves, and not only just go through the rat race and keep running altogether, but also to give some time to ourselves, reflect back and think how we can better improve our living, our life, our health, etc. Dr. Nitin, Dr. Jagdish, would you like to add something here?
Yeah, I think what Dr. Verman had mentioned is true for every practice that we've seen that. And I think apart from that, we've also seen a lot of change in practice patterns, in the follow-ups that we were calling patients earlier. I think technology did make a huge difference in the way we were seeing before. And we have a lot of devices come in now where we can do a lot of things virtually and you don't have to see patients. And I think that this was a big change that I've noticed as well during this process.
All right. Okay.
So,
So that's really great. Mr. Mukesh, if you had like to add something else at the end.
so I'm taking the liberties because it's question been asked only from the doctors. But since we are closely attached with the doctors, so in fact, COVID has pushed to redefine the life in overall, and definitely health is on the center stage. So we keep on hearing health is wealth. So in fact, that is what has been proved now. And people who have money, they wanted to spend and experience the life. People who don't have the money, definitely they want to save life, save some money for the anything eventualities there. But the best part, overall industry point of view, a lot of digitalization is happening. Acceptance about the digital things, whether it is the payment or the healthcare, it is being increasing significantly. And in our case also, of course, yes. Anybody saying something? And in our case also, we have started ophthalm. Now we are just released the dental, and surely we are coming other segment also. And uh, just to update you, all of you, sir, in the month of August, we are planning to do a World AI Summit in India. It would be depend upon the situation. It can be virtual as well as the physical also. So all walk of life from the different segment they would be available there. And the best part, even the government is now accelerating the digital. So whether you wish or not wish, you have to kind of things there. Just for your information, we are quite early stage. On 4th, in fact, we are representing to the Niti Aayog how this conversational AI is going to help in the Ayushman Bharat mission. So that is also, so it's, and they are quite open up. They said, okay, if you want to bring your colleague can't come from the UK, let's join on the virtual. So like it's a physical and virtual meeting. So push are happening from this patient point, push is happening from the service provider like hospital and as well as the government. So that's my final.
Very rightly said, Mr. Mukesh. There's a lot of push from the government side, and the roadmap which came out last year from the government of India, special emphasis on healthcare first, agriculture, and education. These three sectors, and they have put a special emphasis on healthcare. There's a lot going on in that space, as you mentioned about Niti Aayog and the presentations which you are doing there. So definitely, there's a lot of discussions which are happening in all parts of India, and startup ecosystem which is being leveraged by the government to take this one notch up is really great. So very insightful sort of session, I think, with with very great insights from all the three doctors, and with Sumit and Mr. Mukesh. And we are really thankful for you, Dr. Arul, Dr. Nitin, and Dr. Jagdish, that you found time from your busy schedules and joined this session so that we could have a very great session and insightful discussion. So with this, I'd like to close the session with your permission, and we can take this, and we'll also like to invite you further on these talks so that we can hear more from you, understand more from you, and try to implement what you need. And also show that will be showing the light to the office sector as well, where we can leverage your expertise, your knowledge to take the mission forward. So thanks a lot for joining today, and indeed a great session. We look forward to engage with you further, and thanks a lot for to all the users who have been viewing the sessions and trying to gain some knowledge out of it. So I'd like to thank you again, and with this we can close the session and wish everyone a very good weekend ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, Nitin.
And thank you.
Dr. Jagdish Reddy. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And at
Bye-bye.
last,
Good night.
I'd like to thank to IBM TV also for live
Yes,
telecast.
yes, indeed. Thank you, IBM TV, indeed. All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.